Hey, what is going on, guys? It's the SS Ultimate Goku, back with another video, and today we are going to talk about Lasagna, a fairy tale, and why people don't like her or like her, and really to what this whole character stands down to. So I personally don't have any gripes towards Lasagna. I don't think she's a really significant character, but I don't have anything really bad to say about the character because I think the original intent of her character was to motivate the other characters to get stronger and be better. When she, at least at the time, died. So I think, so what this stands down to is. So with Lasagna, so 2 years before the storyline of Fairy Tail begins, where the anime begins, she obviously dies, or at least we are led to believe that she dies in a tragic accident, and Natsu had a lot of she was childhood friends with her. They had a lot of good stuff that they were doing as kids, and they had kind of genuinely loved one another as friends, and even sometimes even other else more from Lasagna's side. But so the thing is, when Lasagna died, I feel like she was supposed to see what Hiramashima I think did. Is she made her a character that was supposed to be a flashback character that was supposed to remind everybody that what happened to her, and tried to basically better everybody else because of this tragedy, to motivate them to continue getting stronger and not allow stuff like this to happen again. And I don't think, when, they did the whole storyline with Asdark, and, she goes into the different world from Earthland, and she is basically now, stuck there, and now she is like, that's kind of where they did, to write her in, right, how she's alive still. Now, Lasagna was never supposed to come back as a character. She was always supposed to be this motivational tool type character for all the other characters, to get stronger and grow as characters. That was what her character was supposed to be. It wasn't supposed to be she comes back, we have these two other worlds, and so we come up with an excuse that the other world's Lasagna actually was the one that died, and this Lasagna actually was alive but was stuck there for 2 years. That wasn't the plan at all. She was basically a character that died, and that was supposed to be it. Lucy comes in, Natsu and Lucy start having, their whole chemistry going on. And Lasagna's not in the picture anymore. And, if Lasagna had not died, you could easily say that, well, yeah, Lucy and Lasagna probably would get together. Of course. They've been with each other for years. Okay, before Lucy gets there. Okay, so yeah, there's definitely a high probability of that. But the thing is when the story was written, the story wasn't written for Lasagna. The story was written for Lucy. Lucy is the main character of the show. To a lot of people's belief, Natsu is not the main character of the, when I mean main character, I mean, who is the character all written around. You know what I mean? And that's Lucy. Lucy, the story was about Lucy, okay, when the story first started. Natsu obviously would be the main character, male, obviously. But in terms of who actually is the definitive main character, to me, there's always only one main character, really, in a show. There's the main character, and then there's the secondary main characters, and then there are the side characters. Of course, that's how I always feel, because I always feel like stories, there's always only one main character. There's always, when we say main character as a cliche now these days, oh, this guy's a main character, like in Ruby. Oh, Team Ruby, like that, they're all main characters. All the people in Team Ruby. No, there's one main character. There's always one main character. You can have other main characters, but they're not the main, definitively the one-up main character. That is Lucy, okay, because the story was written about Lucy. Like literally, she was traveling in the first episode, trying to find the guild, so it was her story. So that's how I've always depicted it. It doesn't mean Natsu isn't less of a main character, it's just he's not the main character. But my point being, getting back to Lasagna, is I think Lasagna was always supposed to be a character that was supposed to be someone that motivated Natsu, motivated the sister, the brother, Mira, and whatnot. They were supposed to grow better as characters. Mira obviously kind of went to the opposite end of it, because obviously, as we know before, Lasagna died. She was like a badass, as we've seen in the flashbacks, but then slowly got nicer, as we'd seen. But that was what they were supposed to be. It was supposed to be a tool for them to grow as characters. Now, Hiromashima, what happened is illustrators kind of were like, we want to bring her back, And this creates the problem. Because Lucy was the main character, I should just refer it this way, the main character of the show. And obviously, Hiromashima was clearly setting up Natsu and Lucy together by this point. It creates a problem because obviously Hiromashima had already done these flashbacks of Lasagna, having a real love interest for Natsu as childhood friends. And so this created a problem because now all the illustrators are like, we want to bring her back, as a character. So Hiromashima reluctantly does it, and here's the problem. And this is why I personally think Lasagna is not liked as a character. And of course, people that see the flashbacks, there are some people that do like Lasagna because of the way it set up Natsu and set up his growth as a character. And so that's where I think people that do like Lasagna are like, oh, well, this is good, But then when she's brought back, it's like, what do we do now? So Lasagna immediately becomes a very, very, different character now. She's not the same character that she was at the start because we just assumed that she was dead, and now she was supposed to be this character that's supposed to be a motivational tool for Natsu and all the other guild members for Fairy Tail. But because she's alive, it ruins that concept. And now that she's alive, it takes away the point of what Hiromashima originally intended for the character. And because of that, you're going to now get a love-hate fan base of this character because the character wasn't supposed to... her character wasn't intended to come back. They had to come up with this weird excuse that, oh, well, the other Lasagna was actually dead, and she, Earthland Lasagna, was really alive, just in the other land, the other, up there where all the cats are, and, all that stuff, Asdara. And she's in that land, and now, what happens? You get this controversy. And this is where the fan base gets divided, especially in the ship community, because this is where it causes chaos in the ship community, because then you see this character, and you're like, look what he did in the flashbacks. Well, look what Natsu and Lasagna did in flashbacks together. Look what they did. And now look at what Lucy and Natsu are currently doing. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys right now. If Lasagna was written to intendedly be alive, originally, she would have never been written as a character. Because Hiro Mashima's intent for her was not to be a character in the show to begin with. Her role was supposed to be a motivational tool for the other main characters to grow. That was her point. She was a flashback character. By bringing her back, it did nothing for her and it did nothing for anyone else. Oh yes, you get the yes, I'm back. Everyone, is happy and crying. Happy, actually, no, crying, I should say, because they were, Mira, sister, brothers, they're all crying. Everyone else was crying when it came back. It was a feel good moment, right, when they came back. But what happened after that? You have a couple episodes here and there. You have a couple episodes here and there where they get, she's got some type of screen time. But every other, main arc, like what main arc did she do that was really significant when she came back? Like that she really, contributed? Really nothing. She was really more of a background character. She was on the secondary group. She never really hanged out with Natsu or Lucy. She wasn't in that type of the Fairy Tail group. They had their own nick. Gray, Urza, Natsu, Lucy. That was really the it, group. Lasagna was stuck with her brother and her sister. Gagio, Levy. That was where, she was stuck. That's where she was stuck. She was not put in with the group that Natsu was in. So that took away screen time. But even after she had, the screen time she had, what did she really do? She really didn't really do anything. She was really forgettable. She didn't really have a big moment, in terms of fighting. She never had new powers, to grow. Further, like, Natsu was, with Lucy, she was getting new, she was getting new celestial keys. So she was getting a lot of new stuff. Lasagna was not getting anything because, she wasn't a primitive main character like Natsu and the others were, and Lucy obviously being the main character, she was getting more attention. So this is where the whole polarizing stuff happens when it comes to a character like Lasagna. Character that was written to be a flashback character turns into a character that now has to be written into being alive, and then essentially is just thrown to the dust. And ultimately just becomes a whatever type character. And that's what she slowly is. After she comes back, she slowly, and if you've noticed from like all the seasons, whether you've read the manga or you've watched the anime, if you've noticed, she slowly in each arc gets less and less and less screen time, per episodes, and in the episodes where she does get some type of appearances, it's not really that much, and it's just like kind of a whatever type episode, whether it be in a filler episode or it's just being an episode where it's just they just put in there for plot reasons at that point. But they never really, it doesn't feel like Lasagna was ever a character that was forced into being put into certain arcs, situations that would benefit the plot. Like it would be for a Lucy or a Natsu or a Gray or an Urza or any of those characters that are getting a lot of the arcs focused mostly on them. You don't really see that with them. With her. You don't see that with her. And so that is probably the biggest problem with Lasagna and the love-hate thing that Lasagna has going. Lucy and Natsu obviously is going to be the thing that's going to happen. And by Lasagna coming back, I feel like it diminished her in terms of what her role was supposed to be, because she wasn't going to get with Natsu, because obviously the plan was Natsu and Lucy. That was pretty obvious. So, that's why the character wasn't alive. The intention was never supposed to be for her. The only reason why Hiro Mashima had them be like kind of like a thing, pre-Fairy Tail storyline, of where, Lucy hadn't joined the guild yet, was because, he knew that the character wasn't going to live, and it was supposed to be a motivational tool for the character for when Lucy came into the fray. And that's really where this is where it stands. And you could tell, I think there might have been maybe 2 or 3 moments that Lucy, or that Lisanna and Natsu had, after she came back, not from flashback, screen times. But that was really it. And it was all then after that, just Lucy and Natsu. It was all just Lucy and Natsu after that, and that's really where it stood. And so with Lisanna as a character, she really wasn't needed. Because her character wasn't written to be a character that was supposed to, do anything significant, for the plot. This was her character. Her character was supposed to be what it was, and that was a flashback character, a motivational character for the main characters, and the main characters. Well, not really mostly Lucy, because Lucy wasn't around yet, but like Natsu, Urza, Mira, all those other characters. That was really what the point of her character was. And that's really where the love-hate kind of comes from. I personally have no real gripes against her. There's nothing really to hate about her. There's nothing really to hate about Lisanna. It's just really, it just, by bringing her back, it also created the whole, the ship competition between her and Lucy, which it was a foregone conclusion it was going to be Lucy, no matter what people thought. But I felt like it also did that too. If she hadn't been brought back, we wouldn't have had that whole issue, because she would have been still dead. But then she was not dead, so that's kind of where that stood. But yeah, that's really basically where her character is, and unfortunately has been labeled. No real major issues with her, but there's nothing really majorly to talk about her character besides the facts that are presented about where her character is. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think about Lisanna. What do you think about her character? Do you think she should have stayed the way she did? Or do you think it was the right move to keep her alive like they ended up doing? Let me know what you guys think. Comment, rate. If you like this video, please subscribe. And that's about it, guys. I am the SS Ultimate Goku. I'm out of here. Peace!